Hello and welcome to Creative Sparkle. My name's Holly and today we're doing an art journal prompt list, so grab your art supplies and let's get crafting. Thank you for joining me today. So to begin with, I'm working in a normal art journal rather than a recycled book. And to begin with, the first prompt we're going to be doing is to choose a patterned napkin and adhere to background. So I'm going to be using Mod Podge to add this patterned napkin to the background. And today I'm going to be separating the napkin into collageable pieces rather than sticking the whole thing as a full piece on the background. If you wanted to use tissue paper instead of a napkin, if that's what you have, then that's absolutely great. If you don't have a patterned tissue paper, then you could also stamp images onto plain tissue and use that for the background. There are other ways that you can do it if you don't have the things in your stash. This was something I had in my stash, but if you don't, then use what you have. So for the collage aspect of things, I'm sticking them down with Mod Podge and then going over the top of each of the layers with Mod Podge as well. And I will cover the whole page in this patterned napkin. So moving on to the next prompt, which is prompt number 2, we're going to be selecting either gesso or acrylic for a thin wash to prime the page. Now I've chosen this paint, which is latte, and I'm going to be priming the background with that. So I'll first put a layer of paint down, but once I've done that I realise it's too thick then, and go over it with a baby wipe just to thin it out a bit so you can see the napkin behind it a bit better. So once I'm happy with the background priming, we move on to prompt number 3, which is use a pattern stencil to add interest. So I've chosen Vintage Photo to go on with this stencil, which is one that I've found in a pack of cushion decorating, I believe. But it doesn't matter, whatever stencil that you think goes with the background well. So once I'm putting this down with the Vintage Photo, I actually didn't like the colour, so I decided then to change it to a darker one, which is Walnut Stain in Distress Ink, and go over those stenciled parts there. As you can see, the colour's a lot darker, so you can see it more in the background, which I'm more happy with. And then once the stenciling has been done, I'll just get rid of the excess little pieces that I've missed here, and then do more stenciling over the rest of the background. So moving on to prompt number 4, add shadows or outline the stenciled element. So the stencils that I've put down, I'm just going to take a brown felt tip pen, and on one side of the stenciled parts I'm going to be putting a line, as you can see here, just to make it have a bit of a shadow, make them a bit more 3D. And then I'm going to take a white pen and do the opposite side. I'm not covering the whole thing and doing a full outline. I'm just doing the majority of the side of it, but leaving some space just so it does look like a shadow, and then a highlight with the white as well. If you would prefer to do an outline or, make some patterns over the individual pieces that are on the page, that's fine. You don't have to do the same thing I'm doing. I just wanted the stenciling to stand out a bit more. So prompt number 5 is to use a glue gun to Zentangle over the page. I'm using my glue gun just with the normal glue. If you want to use glitter glue or something like that, it's absolutely fine. I'm just using normal glue and making circles, as you can see here, and I'll do this in several parts over the page, making 5 different pieces over the page that you can see, because we like to keep it in an odd number. It's more appeasing to the eye. So once I've done that, I'll let them dry and move on to the next prompt. So once that's all cooled down, the next prompt is number 6, which is add colour to your glued Zentangle with the medium of your choice. Now I'm using Cosmic Shimmer gilding polish for this in the colour Copper, and I'm just going to go over the glue to bring it out from the page. As you can see, the other pieces, you can't really see them until you put the stuff on. So if you don't have Cosmic Shimmer gilding polish, you can use any other medium that you have. If you could use the same with paint, using your fingers and rubbing it on, anything works. So for the next prompt, we're going to be creating a focal image from collaged images using a minimum of 3 images. So I've chosen this Tim Holtz Ideology, a pack of vintage stickers that I have, and an old vintage envelope, a mini envelope that I have, and I'm literally just going to be sticking them down on the page and creating a collage. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm literally just sticking them down and hoping for the best. So I'm doing a collage with a mix of each of the items that I have. So the envelope's already down, and the rest of the things will be from Tim Holtz Ideology or the pack of stickers that I got online. I realised that the prompt was to do a focal image, but I wanted to add some interest to give it a bit more cohesion around the page, so that's why I've added this extra part here and the scale on the top left hand side. So moving on to the next prompt, which is prompt number 8, is to create a frame or border around your focal image. So as I'm treating all 3 of these sections as my focal image, I'm going to do them all the same. I have a dark brown watercolour pencil here, and I'm going to go around each of the items that I have, around the main thing as a frame individually, and then each of the individual stickers and pieces of ephemera that I've put down on the page. However, once I started this, I realised that the brown that I've used once adding water wasn't actually as dark as I wanted it to be, and it is the darkest one that I have. So I then go in with a black Inktense pencil, which is a watercolour pencil that dries permanently, and I go over each of the brown with the black, and it creates the dark brown that I was looking for. And I'm going to do that around each and every piece on the page. So once that's done and you're happy with the frame, prompt number 9 is to use the same idea for prompt 8, frame or border, to add a border to the page. So I'm using the same brown watercolour pencil and the black Inktense pencil, going around all of the edges and adding water to create the border. So for the 10th and final prompt, we're going to be choosing a quote, title or word and add it to the page. Now I have these Tim Holtz Ideology clip-in stickers, and I'm choosing 3 different phrases from there to create my title, and I'm clipping one of them down just so that it fits on the page as I wanted it. So the title reads, "Challenge the world, now is the time, knowledge costs nothing." So I'm sticking these down with gel medium, and unfortunately I missed recording the part that I outlined the words the same as the borders that I've put around the focal image and the page, but you will see that in the picture at the end of the video. So thank you for joining me today. The full prompt list is at the end of the video if you want to take a screenshot and try that for yourself. If you do try it, then please do tag me on Instagram with the hashtag #sparkleprompts. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time where we will turn your creative spark into a creative sparkle. Bye!